What's up, ladies and gentlemen? So today we are going to be doing fans Q&A again, and this is from my Facebook. And I broke my phone. See, I don't know if you can see this. Totally, the screen is broken. I was gonna go get iPhone 5, but then I realized that Samsung Galaxy Note 4 is gonna come out within like 10 days, or maybe it's actually out. So I'm just gonna go get that instead of something old, which just came out, but it's old. So these questions come from Priscilla and Savine on my Facebook page. And the first question is, what planetary combination in a chart indicate that a person can be a can have a successful run at running the home and an institution for unprivileged? Well, so if you are a person who wants to be like a housewife or just work from home and handle your home, but also have a daycare center or something, or have like a place where you can take care of the unprivileged people. Well, there's a lot of combinations for this. It's not just one combination, but the indication for this would be the 4th house, 6th house, and the 10th house, and the planets Saturn, Moon, and Venus. Why? Because first of all, 4th house represents your home, your physical home. I'm in the backyard of my physical home. And so any indication like Sun in the 4th house, Saturn in the 4th house, or Saturn in the 10th house and 6th house, so including Sun is also a very strong indicator, because Sun is your soul. Sun is where the heart is. Like, you know where they say your home is where the heart is? Wherever your Sun is, that's where your heart is. Like, that's where you really would like to be. So if Sun is in the 4th house, it shows people who are very introverted, not introverted more so, but like they like to live in the privacy of their home. They like to operate from the privacy of their home. So these people would strive to do something from home, something from inside the 4 walls. Then Moon needs to be available, because Moon requires taking care of the home, taking care of being that motherly figure in home. So especially for women, if Moon is strong in your horoscope, and Moon especially in the 4th house, 6th house, or 10th house, it shows career related to nurturing other people, like a nurse, like a caregiver, like a caretaker. Okay, so these 2 planets come into importance of this thing. Then comes Venus. Why Venus? Venus are the things that make you happy, things that you take pleasure in, things that you just don't feel how long you've been working for, but you love doing those things. That's Venus. Venus is like that passion of yours. So Venus being in these houses, in these 3 houses, 4th house of home, 6th house of unprivileged people, and people who are of unprivileged, scenario, and people who are like suffering in the world, or small animals, like taking care of small animals or pets, is the 6th house. And 10th house Venus will create a career where you would want to take care of other people, and you take pleasure into that. Whatever brings you pleasure and makes you happy is what Venus is. So Venus should be related to Moon as well, because then Moon significance and Venus significance would match together and be like, I want to take care of people. I want to get this person from point A to point B, and that'll make me happy. Then the most important is Saturn. Why Saturn? Because Saturn represents old people, your seniors, people who are unprivileged in life, people who are suffering in the world, people who are kind of handicapped and they need help, is represented by Saturn. So when Saturn is then related to the 4th house, 6th house, and 10th house, it makes Saturn is where your duty goes to. Saturn is where your focus is. Saturn is where your action are going to be judged. So when Saturn is playing the prominent role in these houses, it shows a person who will need to take care of other people, need to take care of seniors, need to take care of older, sick people, in order to release themselves of their karmic debt. So these 4 planets play a very important role in you not only being a successful mother or father in home and running a home, but also running a daycare center, senior care center, children daycare center. Okay, so that's one of the combination, but there's so much more than this. The aspects will make a difference. Conjunction, there, like I can tell you at least just by thinking right now off the top of my head, like 20 combinations for having a home based business concerning other people. Okay, So then the question comes to, how do you do birth time ratification, and what are the major things you need to consider about these things? Well, here's the thing about birth time ratification. I just wrote an article this morning on it before I made this video. Is that it's better you not do that unless you're an expert who's been practicing astrology for 20, 30 years. You do your sadhana, you have the intuitive mind, you have been trained under a guru, and you have had an awakening of some sort of a kundalini awakening within you. Because first of all, birth time ratification is one of the toughest things. It takes 3 days process to finally find somebody's time. So if somebody gave you a birth time, or you have your birth date, I'm sorry, not birth time, birth date, and you want to feel like you want to find out like what's my birth time, nobody knows. Well, an astrologer, an expert astrologer, someone at the level of Sam Jappi, Juan Paul Manley, Ken Rao, these guys will take certain information from you. They will take all the key times, key dates, like when you got married, when you got divorced, when your first child was born, when you graduated college, when you graduated high school, when this happened, when you got a surgery, when you got into accident. Okay, they will take all this information. They will look at your personality, and birth time ratification should be done in person. That's the best thing, because you want to see the person's face, because a face will tell you what kind of ascendant they are. Their eyebrows, the shape of the eyebrows will tell you if they're Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, Libra. The shape of your face, like is it square, oval, what kind of a face it is. So face reading is important to determining the ascendant, okay? And then you look at all these events, you compare it with the Mahadasha and Antardasha. However, there's one more scenario, which is quite unique, which happened to my own mother, because she doesn't know our time. And I went to this one astrologer, the very first astrologer in my book that I tell you, who sparked this interest in astrology in me. And when I went back, I actually realized that I was running through the Antardasha of Ketu. And Ketu just suddenly activated, and then activated this whole madness about occult world in me. But he was, fine-tuned. His Wi-Fi was fine-tuned and connected to the source. So he told my mom to come before 2 p.m. For some reason, you cannot do birth time ratification after 2 p.m. according to him, not anybody else. So he told my mom to come there, and then my mom came. So he asked my mom 3 questions. What's your favorite number? What's your favorite color? And what's your favorite fruit? Okay, and I wasn't allowed in the consultation. I was only allowed outside the room, because he would do consultation privately. But I could still just hear it, and my mom told me later too. And then he took out a book of Sanskrit. It was like a thick book, which I saw through the glass and everything. Took out a book, there was a circle on it, the diagram, and it had mantras and bunch of symbols on it. And he told my mom to close her eyes and put a finger, index finger on it, and he told her to rotate her finger until he tells her to stop. And while she was doing this, he was saying a mantra in his mind, like that. And when he says stop, so my mom stopped at a certain point. He takes that point and the fruits and the number and the color she has picked. Based on that, he gave her time of birth. And then he went on to do her consultation, and 90% of it was true. Like, he told my mom some of the things. I was like, damn, okay, that is my time. He didn't even ask her about her dashas, or when she got married, when she got this, when the husband this, when, none of that stuff. He just went on these 2 scenarios and he found that out. So you see how much things that go into this process of determining your time of birth. That made me realize that how much of intuitive power you need in order to do birth time ratification. Okay, so if you're trying to find out how to do this, it's better not to just go to an expert, let him do it. If you're not going to go into astrology as a professional astrologer, better not finding out how to do this birth time ratification stuff. Okay. So the third question from Priscilla was, if you have 3 retrograde planets in your horoscope, how do you determine if they're positive or negative, and how do you determine their positive negative effect? Well, that first of all depends on what's your ascendant. If those 3 retrograde planets are functional malefic or functional benefic for your horoscope, then you have to see if those retrograde planets have any aspect or conjunction with them, what yoga there's forming in your horoscope. So for example, like for Aries ascendant. Let's say Mercury is retrograde. For Aries ascendant, Mercury is a functional malefic, and it controls two kind of negative houses. It controls the third house, which is eighth from the eighth. So it's the fourth mark like negative house or Dushtana house. Then its Mool Trikon sign Virgo is in the sixth house of debt, enemies, diseases, working every day and dealing with your competition every day. So if Mercury is retrograde in that birth chart, that will have more severe impact on your logical mind, on your ability to analyze things. You'll be like an insect when analyzing things. You will not stop until you have analyzed something fully, until you have memorized something fully, until you have communicated perfectly, because you'll keep making mistakes. With the functional malefic being retrograde, you will be like, ooh, it's not perfect, it's not perfect, it's not perfect, it's not perfect. You'll keep going back and correcting, going forward, going back and correcting until it's perfect, and you'll drive yourself nuts with this. So it depends on if it's a functional malefic or functional benefic. If it's a functional malefic, he's going to keep making you go back. You'll keep making mistakes with whatever you're doing, and you're going to go back and correct it. Go back and correct it until after long time of battling the sixth house, Mercury, battling with him, you'll be able to come out of it. But then, if it's a functional benefic that is retrograde, what he's going to do, he's going to intensify that quality. He's going to intensify the benefic quality, and he's going to make you concentrate on those benefic retrograde planets' significance more than any other thing. Especially the dasha of a retrograde benefic planet will be very powerful for you. But then again, if a functional malefic retrograde planet is receiving a aspect, positive aspect, like for Aries ascendant, Mercury is retrograde in the 8th house, okay? And then Jupiter is aspecting Mercury. That is neutralizing Mercury's negative aspect, including its retrogradation. So you cannot just say if 3 planets are retrograde, am I doomed, or what's a positive, negative? You just have to judge it. If it's functional malefic, what's the aspect on it? What's the conjunction with it? What's the ascendant? And are you running through the dasha of that planet or not? And if that planet is in a good position in your D9 chart. Okay, so that's how you would do this retrograde judgment. Now, Savin's question is confusing. I don't know exactly what you're trying to ask me here, but I don't think I'll be able to answer this because you're confusing me here. You said, okay, couple, when Saturn and Venus conjunction is in the 2nd house in Libra and Ketu is in the 10th house in Taurus, also Jupiter in the 6th house in Capricorn, is there still a Simbhasan yoga and Neech Bhangraj yoga? It doesn't make sense at all, because if you have Saturn and Venus in Libra in the 2nd house, you cannot have Taurus in the 10th house. Okay, because then Taurus will be in the 9th house, and Jupiter cannot be in Capricorn in the 6th house, because then it has to be in the 5th house. So I don't know if you got your houses mixed up, but I can't really answer this question because none of it is kind of going. I don't know, I think you must have just made a mistake with the house placement, but I'll try to answer this next time. But if you can just rearrange your question again, because this one just does not make sense, because you cannot have Venus and Saturn in the 6th house, and you cannot have Ketu in the Taurus in the 10th house at the same time, and Jupiter and Capricorn in the 6th house. It's not, I don't know what kind of a ascendant would that be, but it's not anything that coincides with the actual way of looking at the ascendants, because only for Taurus will be in the 10th house for a Leo ascendant, while Venus, Libra would be in the 2nd house for Virgo ascendant, and Capricorn would be in the 6th house, where Jupiter, you're saying, it's for Leo ascendant. So yeah, that's not making sense. But anyway, guys, this was my little fans Q&A from Priscilla, and hopefully Savin would rearrange the question so I can answer it next time. So in case if you want your questions to be answered, just go onto my Facebook, like my Facebook, and if you want to know more about astrology and conjunction in astrology, check out the link below. Check out my book there, Astrology at the Speed of Light and Conjunctions at the Speed of Light. And when you get the book, I will send you the link to look at your own chart. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow with my video on aliens and hybrids. It's a very important video you guys don't want to miss. All right, bye.